talking about Sony's next PlayStation handheld. And I'm going to let you know right out of the gate, this is not a PlayStation Vita 2. This is not a PlayStation Portable 2. This is something very different than that. So keep your expectations in check. They say here, following days of speculation, Insider Gaming can report that there's a new PlayStation handheld in development. Codenamed the Q Lite, the next PlayStation handheld is the next piece of Sony hardware that aims to be yet another piece of hardware that requires the PlayStation 5. Insider Gaming understands that the Q Lite is not a cloud-based streaming device, but instead uses remote play with the PlayStation 5, a feature the console giant has been pushing these past couple of weeks. They continue sporting adaptive streaming up to 1080p and 60 frames per second. The new device will require constant connectivity to the internet. As for the console's physical features, early prototypes show the console will look a lot like a PlayStation 5 controller, but with a massive 8-inch LCD touchscreen in the center. The device sports adaptive triggers for haptic feedback and will include what you would come to expect from a handheld: volume buttons, speakers, an audio input jack, etc. Insider Gaming understands that the Q Lite is in its QA phase and is scheduled to release before the PlayStation 5 Pro and after the detachable disk drive PS5. As previously mentioned by industry insider Jeff Grubb, Sony is planning to announce its, quote, second phase of the PS5, end quote, which was in reference to its future game slate. Ironically, though, this second phase is very much true for Sony's hardware offerings, with the new detachable disk drive PlayStation 5, Project Nomad, which are the new wireless earbuds, and Project Voyager, which is the wireless headset, and now the Q Lite handheld, all scheduled to release within a very short period. It's understood that the PlayStation 5 Pro is aiming for a holiday 2024 release. So whenever Sony's next PlayStation showcase will be, it's seemingly going to be a big one. So this is some pretty interesting information we're getting here, and I'll be honest, based off of people's reactions to this information, a lot of people feel very disappointed that this is the route Sony is deciding to go down with a PlayStation handheld. I do think there are some people who maybe are not necessarily surprised. I think realistically the chances of Sony creating a dedicated handheld similar to like a Vita or PSP, they were always very unlikely, but still that isn't stopping people from being disappointed that this is basically a device that Sony is creating that is going to replicate what your phone can already do. And so it's understandable that, you know, when people see a report like this that says the next Sony handheld, just to find out that it's basically going to be a DualSense with an 8-inch screen that does the same thing your phone can currently do with remote play, it's very understandable that people are going to be potentially very disappointed. So again, the general reaction across the internet right now with this new PlayStation Q Lite handheld report is pretty negative. There are some people who are optimistic about it and have expressed excitement or interest in it. There are many people who feel disappointed and let down that this is the direction Sony's choosing to go in. And there are also some people who are basically questioning why Sony would even bother creating a product like this in the first place, considering something like the, backbone already exists. I think it's all very understandable. I do think there will be people who will be excited about this, but I, again, also understand why maybe even most people are looking at this and just thinking, what's the point? For me personally, it's difficult to determine if I'll have any interest in this. Right now, I don't use PlayStation Remote Play literally ever. It is available through the phone, and I don't use it. I don't have any interest in it. I don't see that changing by Sony coming out and saying, here's a DualSense with a screen on it. It'll depend. I mean, pricing is going to be pretty important. If it's like really cheap, I think people might consider it. But is it going to be cheap? I don't know. I'm not anticipating that. I think it might actually, unfortunately, be a little bit more expensive than people were hoping. That's just me assuming that Sony's going to kind of follow what they've been doing lately, right? Where it's like they're going to put a premium price on it. But we'll have to see how Sony ends up revealing this and marketing it. And I wouldn't be surprised if when Sony does officially reveal this and talk about it, if some people start to change their mind on it a little bit. That's the one thing with reports like this is we're just getting like the straight facts and the information. We're not seeing what this thing looks like. We're not seeing it in action. We don't have anything tangible except for this is what the product is and this is what it's going to do. So it wouldn't surprise me if some people end up feeling a little bit better about it. But generally speaking, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be as successful as maybe Sony is hoping, and I don't know if it's going to be as well received as Sony believes it would be. So we'll have to wait to see. But yeah, right now, what we can say based off of Insider Gaming's recent reports is that Sony has a lot of plans for PlayStation hardware. We have a PS5 Pro, PS5 with a detachable disc drive, earbuds, a new headset, and now a type of handheld that utilizes remote play. So Sony planning on making some significant moves in the hardware sector. Let me know your thoughts on it. I'll definitely be interested to hear what you guys have to say about this handheld. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.